Yeah. Blackjack. Life is like a game of cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Yeah. Blackjack. To play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game. I'm going to get right into it. The question comes from a young man from Arlington, Virginia. And the question is the rumor true that Tupac was assaulted in prison while he was in upstate New York for the situation involving a young lady in New York City? And the answer to that question is absolutely positively not. There had been a lot of people running around running rumors, and today I'm still baffled by why they would run rumors of that nature. Like I said, had not been in jail with Tupac, one wouldn't know anything about anything like that anyway. So a lot of times people just talk, crazy and say things, Wendy Williams, she was one of them. Biggie had made a reference to something like that, in regards to Tupac being assaulted in jail. And it was a couple of other people that had made a reference to something like that. And Tupac spoke on that when he did the interview with the young lady sitting on the couch at his condominium for the Vibe magazine interview. He had spoke on that. But I'm here to tell you, more importantly, that Dannemora, the maximum security prison that he was in, from this information that I have here, was basically a hellhole. And it basically says Dannemora was a hellhole. He had a 1 to 4 year sentence, and they put him in the maximum security prison. One of his lawyers, Stuart Levy, says Levy recalls that while he was visiting Tupac one day, Tupac had a rectal search when he came in to the visiting area. Then we spent 6 hours there in full view of the guards. Then the guards started saying, "Tupac, Tupac," in this falsetto voice, putting up their fingers with these plastic gloves, waving them, "It's time, it's time." Why a second rectal search when he'd been sitting there in plain view with his lawyer? Why? Except to humiliate him. Yasmin Fuller, who had known him since he was a baby and who visited him often in prison, recalls it was a terrible experience for him to be captive in a horrific situation with guards threatening to kill him, inmates threatening to kill him. He said, "I have never had people demean me and disgrace me as they have in this jail." But more importantly, Tupac was a political prisoner. Most people don't really want to look at it from that perspective, but Tupac was very powerful, but he just didn't know how powerful he was. And so, like I said before, any opportunity that they got to put Tupac in jail, they would have done that. And for most people, we've seen whether in prison movies or if you ever been to prison before, they do drop, squat, and cough and all of that old crazy stuff. You know what I mean? When you first get there, and a lot of times, not when you go on a visit, but when you come back for a visit. And so the observation made by his lawyer at that particular time was correct. Like I said, why would you need, coming out, you could do it, or going in, you could do it, whichever one but usually it's going in, because most of the time they would think that you probably got something from the person that you were visiting, and they gave you something, and you put it somewhere where, people rarely look, so, but it just goes to show, the viewer and the people who wondered about that, just what he was going through at that particular time. And like I said, more importantly, that he was actually, for somebody who his first time, under the situation that he was under, to be put in a maximum security prison. This was intentional. You have to understand this. This was not by, mistake. They wanted to make a point. They wanted to break Tupac Shakur. They wanted to get their revenge on the fact that he had got off for, shooting the police officers down in Atlanta. They wanted to make a point, and that, we're going to break you. You know what I mean? And that's basically what they were trying to do. And from what I understand, the Dannemora, where he was at, it's mostly Caucasian. And so, they had a few guards in there, African American or whatever. I don't know, what the interaction with those guards were. But like I said, Tupac had explained it himself that a lot of the guards there, were family members, cousins of cousins and things like that, because it was so far out in the boondocks where Dannemora was located. Basically, just that culture, that way of thinking. And like I said, just him being a celebrity, young African American, having money, and Tupac wasn't the type of guy, to bite his tongue. You know what I mean? He always had words, even in his records when he got out of prison. You know what I mean? He had, said something in regards to the COs, in the song Picture Me Rolling. And so, like I said, yeah, but the answer to that question is absolutely not. You know what I mean? That wouldn't have happened to Tupac. And like I said, a lot of the people in the jail, definitely had his back. It wasn't that type of atmosphere, where somebody was trying to get at him, you know what I mean, from that perspective. But you always got your guys in there that want to make a name for themselves, you know what I mean, late night, yelling, yeah, because they know who he is, and it's no different than in the streets. Somebody know you on top of the game, they're going to always try to, make a name by trying to do something to you from that perspective. But like I said, nothing like that actually happened. So people can say what they want to say. But like I said, I take it from the people that were closest to him. Like I said, Mr. Levy, his lawyer, and someone who was like a second mother to him, Yasmin Fuller. Like I said, she said it definitely was hard. You know what I mean? Basically, with the guards, not actually, so much as the prisoners, some of that too, but the guards, threatening to kill him. You know what I mean? That's what I find ironic. You know what I mean? Where did that hate come from? Where did that disdain come from? But like I said, you always, in prison, you always gonna have, somebody try you until you prove yourself. Like I said, that you ain't one to be messed with. And usually after you prove yourself, you don't really have to worry about that no more. So like I said, she said, but there were some inmates too, that Tupac had told her, that were threatening to kill him. And like I said, he said that he had never had people demean him and disgrace him as they have in that jail. And like I said, before that, he was at Rikers and on the prison ward at the hospital, at Bellevue Hospital. You know what I mean? So I think it was probably a scary experience for him. You know what I mean? Anybody like, in a maximum security prison, you talking about people who are never going to come home again. Some of them, they not coming home. Some got 30 years, 40 years, some got life, you know what I mean? And like I said, so, and you got your, 4 years, you know what I mean? 1 to 4 years. And so, now you put in this position where, when you could have just probably, they got people that do 1 to 4 years at Rikers, so you understand now that it was, politically motivated and they wanted to break Tupac. And you best believe that the word was sent through, as far as to the prison guards in dealing with Tupac. Like, yeah, like Tupac said, they said, hey, here's the rich nigga, you know what I mean? And so you can see that the animosity was there, just for being who he was, not really knowing him as an individual, just probably looking at the television, seeing what was going on involving the case, and him coming in now, now we can do what we want now, tough guy or whatever, they thought his persona was, from being a rapper and so on and so forth. But to the brother from Arlington, Virginia, yeah, no, that didn't happen. It was rough, tough, and tumble though. Definitely wasn't no cakewalk. Like I said, any maximum security prison is not a cakewalk, because you got people in there that are never coming home again. And so you gotta, tread lightly and handle your business. Yeah. So nothing like that happened to Tupac. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.